Hello, and welcome to Azeroth United, the podcast where we talk about World of Warcraft Dragonflight, World of Warcraft Classic, and everything in between. My name is Denethar, and I am your host.
Welcome everyone to Azeroth United. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a really rough week here. The entire house got COVID, and I've definitely been struggling to get an episode out. I wanted to at least do a recording this week. There's a lot of news I wanted to discuss, and I wanted to kind of get into some things before next week's big BlizzCon prediction episode. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, we've got a great show planned for you today. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and as always, if you have any questions or comments about the podcast, or if you have a particular topic you'd like to hear discussed, please email me at denethar1@gmail.com, or you can leave a voice message by going to speakpipe.com/AzerothUnited. Also, if you enjoy the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That helps out our distribution tremendously, so if you are inclined to do so, we'd be very grateful. Yeah, it's been quite the week in Warcraft. We've got Icecrown Citadel that dropped. We've got a 10.2 release date. We've got tons of news. We've got so much stuff. So let's get talking about it.
It's time for the news.
In the big news of the week, on Friday, October 13th, Microsoft's Xbox division completed its year-and-a-half-long journey to purchase Activision Blizzard. I almost said Azeroth Blizzard, if only. To purchase Activision Blizzard for $69 billion. Some chump change for Microsoft there. So this will add some iconic games to Microsoft's roster. We've got Diablo 4, Overwatch, StarCraft, World of Warcraft, Candy Crush, Guitar Hero, which they're trying to bring back somehow, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and of course the behemoth, Call of Duty. So there's not a public transition plan, at least not one that's been announced yet, but it has been reported that current Activision CEO Bobby Kotick will be leaving the company after January 1st, 2024, following the initial transition period. So he's going to stay along to make sure that the transition is nice and smooth. And as much as players don't like Bobby Kotick, he's really good at what he does, which is managing a company. So, you know, say what you will about the guy. He managed to turn Activision into a $69 billion cash cow for his himself and his investor buddies. So, you know what? Congratulations to him on getting even more money. Maybe he can buy a new yacht. And congratulations to gamers, because hopefully this will be a new era for Blizzard. I'm really hoping that this means that Blizzard is going to get kind of not spun off, but separated into, here, you're your own thing, run yourself, manage yourself. We're only going to step in if we need to do anything finance-wise, but for the most part, I'm expecting Blizzard to kind of be their own destiny, as it were, going forward, and not have to answer to arbitrary sales numbers and things like that. Really hoping that it's a return to the Blizzard of old. The kind of it'll be out soon. It's ready when it's ready. That mentality, but we'll see. It's 2023. It's not 2003 anymore, where companies can do that. So, will Microsoft leave Blizzard to their devices? Maybe. I mean, we got Starfield, and that's a pretty it's a pretty big endeavor that Bethesda went out for there. So I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. But I'm definitely very hopeful that this is a positive sign for not just for Activision games, but for Blizzard in particular, and for gamers in general. And in terms of the Game Pass, I've seen it mentioned a lot that people were kind of confused as to how come World of Warcraft isn't on the Game Pass. Don't expect World of Warcraft on the Game Pass anytime soon. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. First of all, WoW isn't a really difficult to run game, so you don't have to worry about the cloud gaming there. And you have a subscription fee. So that subscription fee is not going away. Their able to make $15 a month from you, what will happen is you'll likely get a discount on the rest of the Game Pass with your WoW subscription down the road. But I don't think that they're going to put WoW on the Game Pass as a, Game Pass type subscription. That's not going to happen. So don't expect that. As far as Blizzard games going onto Game Pass, Diablo 4 looks like it's going to be the first one. So we will see. That's supposed to happen sometime next year. And I guess what Phil Spencer said is that because of all the regulatory hurdles that they had to climb over, especially what they had to do in the UK with spinning off the gaming rights to Ubisoft, it really complicated their release schedule for some of these games going onto Game Pass. So they couldn't prep them for cloud. They couldn't prep them for cloud streaming and that type of service. So just be patient. It'll happen sometime next year. No doubt we'll see some announcements coming up, and we may even see some announcements at BlizzCon. We'll see. In other news, so we did get this is interesting timing on the announcement of this one. This is last week. Blizzard did mention that World of Warcraft players had raised $1.5 million US by purchasing Sunny and Flurky in-game pets in support of Blue Check for Ukraine relief. So that's great. I'm glad, and there was no sign of Mila Kunis anywhere on the announcement there. I think that they've decided that she's better off in the shadows after all of the Danny Masterson nonsense. So congratulations to Blizzard for raising the money for the Ukraine relief. I'm really glad that they did that. I'm curious to see if they even step a toe in the current Middle East conflict, or if they're wise enough to stay out of that one. Time will tell. But as far as that's it for the big news. The other thing was that they did announce what the third event for the BlizzCon Guild Clash was going to be, and it's going to be fighting against the 4 of the bosses in Amir Drasil. So it's kind of like the Wizard, where they had the Nintendo competition, and then the last round was a game that no one had ever played before, which of course turned out to be Super Mario Brothers 3. So this will be, obviously people have fought these bosses before on the PTR, but this will be the first time that we will see these guilds doing this. And then of course we will get the release, which we're going to talk about here in just a little bit, of 10.2 shortly after BlizzCon. So pretty exciting stuff. Again, those guilds were Echo, Limit, Method, and Golden Guardians. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, the other 2 events were 3v3 Arena and 5v5 Mythic Plus Racing. So if you're interested in that, definitely check that out during BlizzCon. If you're not interested in that, I don't blame you, but because that's not my thing either. But a lot of people do like to watch that, and that's cool. So with that, we're moving on to the World of Warcraft news.
Let's talk about World of Warcraft.
This week in Dragonflight, so for Mythic Plus, the affixes are Fortified, Afflicted, and Raging. Fortified, of course, we know what that does, but the Afflicted, that's the afflicted souls seek the aid of players. They need to be healed to full or dispelled before they cast Afflicted Cry. Oh god, this one sucks because the healers just, it all gets dumped on the healer. That's really unfortunate. This affix, it's not as bad as Incorporeal, but it's still pretty bad, and it's really frustrating. There's not much to say about it. This week it's not a bad week. The trash is going to be a little sloggy because the third affix is Raging. I don't think I said that. It's going to be a little chunky. Make sure that you spec into any sort of Dispel that you might have. Ret Paladins, Shadow Priests, Druids, Random Druid, whatever you are. I don't know. I guess Boomkins could get a Dispel. I'm trying to think. I haven't played my Druid as a Boomkin for years now. Yeah, turns out I was really bad at Boomkin. Yeah, so healers, beware. This is going to be a rough week. Above a 7. If you're doing 20s, I sure hope that you're with a group that respects you and cares about your mental health. So, yeah, there you go. The PvP brawl for this week is South Shore versus Terran Mill. Ah, the good old days. This is so much fun because it's literally just the back and forth between South Shore and Terran Mill, just like on vanilla when there were no battlegrounds. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. There was just, I don't know, just run over there, attack. Ah, the guards are coming, run back. And that's what we did because, it's like going and throwing rocks at each other in the driveway because you didn't know what else to do when you were a kid. Yeah, so PvP Brawl, definitely go check that out. The brawls are a good time, and you can get a quest for some conquest and some marks of honor, so that's pretty fun. The Turbulent Timeways continues. This is the 4th week, so this week is Mist of Pandaria. I don't have the list of dungeons because I forgot to write them down, but it doesn't really matter. It's Mist of Pandaria. Those are all pretty easy. They're all pretty basic. I do know that Shadowpan Monastery is one of them, and that one sucks. But aside from that, yeah, it's a pretty fun week. I really enjoy the Turbulent Timeways. I'm really hoping that that's the fixture of .7 patches moving forward, and that Blizzard continues to offer the various avenues of catch-up. So I leveled up a demon hunter that I hadn't really messed with him since Shadowlands, and yeah, got him to 70. Ran some time walking, ran some dream surges, and he's at like 402. It's not bad. But yeah, the Turbulent Timeways is great. I really enjoy the kind of catch-up mechanism that they put in place. It's really fun. So I'm enjoying that. The Hallow's End event started on Wednesday. So yeah, this is going to go till November 1st. And here's the thing. It's a new Headless Horseman encounter. So if you haven't checked this out yet, you definitely want to go. You can queue for it in the Random Dungeon Finder. And it's usually a pretty quick queue. So the Headless Horseman encounter has been changed. So instead of before where his head would fly off and you'd have to go fight the head while he wandered around headless and then the head would come back. And this is different. He's got fire that he shoots out. He puts a circle on everyone. And if the circles overlap, or if you're overlapping onto someone else's circle, you get feared. Yeah, it's actually a fun encounter now. I really enjoy it. It takes a little bit more of a challenge, and yeah, it's really enjoyable. It definitely needed the update. It was something that had been around in that same form for way too long. In addition to the encounter being updated, there are now 4 new curses that you can get that will enable hard mode. So each curse in and of itself will enable hard mode, and that will increase your chances of getting good loot, i.e. the Headless Horseman mount. So to enable the hard mode for the Headless Horseman encounter, you must talk to the Wicker Men located just to the left when you zone into Scarlet Monastery. You can talk with each smaller Wicker Men to get one of the curses, or the big ominous Wicker Man in the middle to get all 4 curses at once. Yeah, these curses are not joking around. And what they do is they add an ability to the encounter that requires you to dodge an obstacle, move out of the way of something. It's just more things for you, more mechanics for you to follow. But it's personal, so it doesn't affect the group. So you're not going to screw over some group of randos by choosing hard mode. It's your hard mode. So they're all doing it easy mode. You're dancing around extra things on the ground, and you've got to kill a shadow of yourself before it gets. What happens is each time you fail one of these mechanics, you get a stacking debuff. That stacking debuff reduces your health by 10%. If you get 10 stacks, surprise, your health is now 0 and you die. But the Wicker Men don't let you die. What they do is they remove the curses from you and you can continue the fight as normal. You just don't get the benefit of doing it on hard mode. So it's actually a really clever way of handling that that component of the fight, making it harder, but then also not making it, you failed and you don't get loot now because you died. It's pretty cool. Yeah, if you're farming for the mounts, it's the same thing like always. You have an increased chance on your first kill for the day, so make sure you run it every day. Running it on additional alts will not yield as profitable rewards. In other words, your first character of the day on your entire account is going to have a higher chance of getting the drop than any of your subsequent characters for that day. But as soon as the servers reset, then you can try it again. So just make sure you're running it every day. And if you don't get them out, it sucks, because I know a lot of people who want it and don't have it. I was very fortunate. I got it back in, I don't know, Cataclysm or Mist of Pandaria. I'm not sure. Anyway, doesn't matter. There's still another reason to run this encounter, which is to get the Scarlet Key. So the Scarlet Key will drop, or has a chance to drop, from the Headless Horseman's loot pumpkin that you get after completing the encounter. If you get that, you travel to the Scarlet Monastery, the actual place, not where you are in the queued version. You run up the stairs to go inside the building where the four doors lead to the instances, or it's actually two doors now because two of them are closed. Anyway, at the top of the stairs there'll be a key. You click on the key and it'll give you a quest, and the quest will consume the key that's in your bag, but if you click on the key again, you'll get a buff, and when you get the buff, you get to go inside to the old Scarlet Monastery. Yes, the vanilla, original, OG Scarlet Monastery. If that's something that you're looking for, there's definitely some transmog in there. There's some unique models in there, for sure. An interesting concept, which is create new and interesting ways for players to unlock the old dungeons. I think it's really cool. I think that the ability to go into the old Scarlet Monastery and knock out these four wings, I think it's really fun. And when you go into the library after you kill Arcanist Stone, you'll be able to loot the key from the box, and the key is not soulbound. So what you could do is you could complete the quest, go in there, loot the key, and then take that key and sell it on the auction house, or give it to a friend, or whatever. It's actually a really cool thing. So yeah, I really like this, and I hope that Blizzard continues to do this, unlocking old dungeons. I was telling someone yesterday, man, I really hope that they do this with Sunken Temple. I'd love to see okay, congrats, you've unlocked Sunken Temple. It'll still take you an hour to get through to figure out how to do all the stones and the correct order to do all the things in. And yeah, boy, I miss some of those old dungeons. Anyway, so if you're interested in that, definitely want to check that out. There is also a new Hallows End pack available in the store. So this is some mounts and some pets. So the mounts are the Iron Sky Reaver, the Warforged Nightmare, and the Reigns of the Illidari Fellstalker. Wow, that's a terrible name. Blizzard, I hate that name. Change it. As well as the pets Mischief and Nibbles. So definitely go check that out. If you already have some of those items purchased from the store, then it'll be discounted based off of the items that you already have purchased. So that's pretty cool. So your price will vary. And I think that's it for retail. Like I said before, there's still plenty of stuff to do. If you're trying to gear up an alt, you could do Dream Surges, you could do Time Rifts, you could do Farak Assaults, you could do Researchers Under Fire, you could do... there's lots of things to do in-game that'll get you Adventurer level gear, which is great because Veteran level gear, which is great because it will give you the ability to go up to 424 item level, which is awesome for a brand new character. You're definitely going to want to look at your Flightstone income, because if you're gearing up a brand new alt and you want to upgrade all of their gear, you're going to burn through your Flightstones really fast, and you currently don't have a way to transfer those to alts for some reason. Blizzard, get on it. But so if you want to check those things out, you definitely want to go. Dream Surges alone, you could get all of your pieces up to 402 easily, minus your trinkets. So definitely check that out. Time Rifts, you can get trinkets. They're not the best trinkets, but they're good enough. And then maybe it'll give you some confidence. Maybe you want to go check out Mythic Plus on a new character. Maybe you check out Raid Finder. Give you something to do. Jump in and start preparing for patch 10.2. Because the big news there is that, yes, Blizzard did finally release the 10.2 release date, which is November 7th. Season 2 will start on November 14th, just in time for the Thanksgiving holiday here in the States. As this is what everyone predicted, this is what everyone figured it was going to be, but it's good to have it official and to know that it's coming. And 10.2, potentially the last patch of Dragonflight. So, yeah, we'll see. We can talk about that a little bit more later, but yeah, I'm very excited about that. So we'll talk about some more 10.2 PTR stuff here coming up in a moment. In other news, we have Wrath Classic, the world first, and I'm using air quotes here, world first, Lich King heroic kill went to the Guild Progress on the Gehennis EU server. It did happen 94 minutes after launch, so hey, good job, Arthas, for lasting 94 minutes. We're all proud of you. You did well, my boy, but no king can rule forever, as has been said by some old man. In hardcore, this is a little bit more interesting. The world first, again using air quotes, the world first Kel'Thuzad kill on hardcore, completed by the Guild Frontier on Defias Pillager, North America. Now, this is crazy. They had 6 deaths on this fight, which, that sucks for those people. But they did it. They killed Kel'Thuzad on hardcore, which means they cleared the entirety of Nax already. There was no 5th horseman. They just did it. They went through, they cleared it. They were all business. It's done. And this is 8 weeks into hardcore. So it's not like, it took them 6 months to gear up. This was some serious business. Congratulations to Frontier on Defias Pillager, and to the 6 people that died. That sucks, but hey, you were at least part of something. It's immortalized now. All the Twitch streams are up there. All the YouTube videos are up there. So congrats to everyone there.
Let's talk about something new.
On the patch 10.2 PTR, we've got some class changes that have been coming down. Looks like Vengeance Demon Hunters have been buffed. Mistweaver Monks have been buffed. There's been more rogue changes. A few more Discipline Priest changes. Looks like they're hitting a little too hard damage-wise right now. So, definitely if you want to look at the class changes, check them out. They're in the show notes. Class changes are tough because you get excited. Oh my gosh, this class is getting buffed. And then 3 weeks later, right before the actual patch comes out, they change their mind. However, there was a release candidate build put up onto the PTR server. So I don't know. We might just be looking at little tiny adjustments here and there going forward. This might be the final form of patch 10.2. So we'll see. Definitely very excited about this patch coming out. I can't wait. I'm so jazzed. I've been playing on the PTR, and every time I do something, I'm like, oh my, I can't wait to do that for real. So I think I'm going to stop playing on the PTR just so that I can enjoy it and experience it for the first time now that all the changes are pretty much locked in. The Druid Moonkin form customizations are on the PTR, and wow, they look amazing. I mean, feathers, horns, beaks, eyebrows, whiskers, adornments, spell effects, all of these things that you can customize, different colors, different shades, different shapes. It's so cool. You can set a random appearance. There's even a glyph that scribes can make that will allow you to have a random appearance every time you go into Moonkin form. So it's really cool. If you like the Moonkin form at all, and you're kind of like, oh yeah, this is cool. I just want to have whatever the generic one, or it's fine. But if you want to try out all these new customizations, and there are a lot of them, definitely take a look at that when the patch launches, because it's going to be really fun. So yeah, this is a long time coming. Blizzard could have done this many years ago, and I do hope that they give some more options for people who don't like Moonkin Farm. Like, hey, I like playing balance, but I don't want to be a big bird chicken. That's fine. I wish that they would do that. Right now, you still have the Glyph of Stars, so that's at least something. But yeah, if you like the Moonkin form, these customizations are awesome. So definitely check that out if you get an opportunity on the PTR or when the patch comes out on November 7th. This is an interesting change. I like this. The pre-made group finder now shows the applicant's specialization in the tooltip. Yeah, because how many times have you been trying to put a group together for Mythic Plus and you're like, oh, cool, a druid. Is it a feral or is it a balance? Well, guess what? You have no idea. So now it'll show. It'll show feral. And if you pick a feral druid and they switch to balance, you can go, no, bro. We wanted a kitty cat. Pew, gone. Same thing with a shaman or a warrior or a mage. Oh my gosh, could you imagine you pick a mage and it's an arcane mage and you're like, oh man, just kill me now. Yeah, so definitely a welcome change. I know there's add-ons that do this sort of thing, but it's always nice to see this sort of thing baked into the actual game client. Other changes so this one's really cool. So there's a new buff that players can get on the Super Bloom World event, or I'm sorry, the Super Bloom Public event. Wink, Blizz. So on the Super Bloom Public event, you can get the Lone Wolf's Courage. So this is a buff that will, if you're by yourself, so maybe there's other people there, maybe you're doing this by yourself, primary stat increased by 150%, stamina increased by 60%, and healing 1% health every 10 seconds. People have reported that this is stacking up to 4 times on the PTR right now. Think about that. 4 times. That's 600% primary stat increase. That's 240% increase in stamina and healing 4% every 10 seconds? That's nuts. So Blizzard is definitely trying to encourage people to go out and do things by themselves if that's what they want to do. So hey, I think that's amazing. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to do one of these events alone. The Farak Assault is a perfect example. I took my mage to the Farak Assault, and I probably died 6 times trying to do it. Because what I had to do was I had to find another group, a group of hordes that was actually running around, and I followed them and just tagged on their kills, because that was all I could do. Anytime I tried to kill something by myself, I got smoked, and it sucked. So this is amazing. This is the type of change that I like seeing right now, because Blizzard is acknowledging that there are different playstyles, that people are not always going to have a big guild that they can go do stuff with, or all their buddies that they can group up with, or that they're going to want to group up with random strangers that are there. I don't want to group up with those people. I just want to go do the event and then get out of there. So this is fantastic. I love it. Love to see these sorts of changes. I feel like this is the type of thing that's game changing in a lot of ways. I'd love to see this type of thing applied in other areas. Why not give you a buff based on the number of people in your group for doing LFR? Maybe you go do Raid Finder and you say, hey, I just want to do with my group. So you go in with 5 people, because really Raid Finder is just for the story, right? You're not cutting edge content there. So you go in, you do the raid with 4 people, and everybody gets a buff that makes them all superpowered, because it's still going to be a challenge, but you're basically they're handing it to you. So you got to go through and do the mechanics, and you got to do the raid, but ultimately they're giving you an easy way to get through it. Why not give a buff that does that? Give a buff that heals everyone throughout the raid, that increases your damage so that you can get through those fights quicker. Why not make it so that people can actually play the game in the way that they want? You don't necessarily want to go into Raid Finder with 24 other morons and try to knock this out. How many times have you done that and somebody can't do the mechanic, or somebody can't somebody's mad because they don't like somebody's spec, or because somebody didn't crowd control properly, or whatever. It's like, you know what? I'm so over that. And I have no patience for it. So I feel like that's a really positive thing. And I hope that it's something that Blizzard continues to iterate on in the future. Speaking of rating, the Emergensil, the Dream's Hope overview and release schedule has been released. So, having been carefully nurtured within the Emerald Dream, Emergensil is preparing to bloom and cross into Azeroth. But the fate of the New World Tree cannot be secured until Azeroth champions come together to face Farak and his molten allies before he devours the heart of Emergensil and bathes the world in flame. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Emergensil. 9 bosses. Difficulties, Raid Finder, Normal, Heroic, and Mythic. Why did they need to list that out? Level 70. Again, why do we need to explain this? This is known. Okay, here we go. Raid Finder, minimum item level, 424. So if you are 424 and or above, you are good to go for the Raid Finder on week 1 of Season 1. Because that's right, Raid Finder unlocks on the day that everything else does. So November 14th, we are going to get Raid Finder Wing 1, which includes Nalroot, Igiria the Cruel, and Smolderon, as well as normal, heroic, and mythic difficulties. So we're getting all 4 difficulties launch on the same day, the same week. The very next week, on the 21st of November, which is here in the States, that's Thanksgiving week, we get Raid Finder Wing 2, which is Volocross and Laradar, Keeper of the Flame. The next week, on November 28th, we get Raid Finder Wing 3, which is Council of Dreams and Nimue, Weaver of the Cycle. And the final wing doesn't release until December 12th, which is 2 weeks later. And that's going to be Wing 4, which is Tindril, Sage Swift, Seer of the Flames, and Farak the Blazing. So I think this is great. I'm happy to see Blizzard releasing Raid Finder quicker because, like I said, people do want to go through and see the story, even if they're not into raiding. So this is very exciting. This is something that I've wanted them to do for a long time, not this long, prolonged rollout of 2 months and it's why? Why are we doing this? This is good. Just knock it out. And week 1, that's fantastic. Week 1 of season 3 is you're going to be able to go into the raid. So congratulations to all the people who are going to want to do that. And, good luck to all the raiders out there who are going to be attempting this on the first week. And even more good luck to the players who are going to be attempting this on the second week. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of guilds who are going to have to kind of truncate their raid week because of Thanksgiving. But we'll see how it goes. I'm sure that the top end guilds have plans, especially the ones that are United States based, to bypass or to try to get it done before the holiday. But if not, I'm sure they've already made schedules for, hey, your Thanksgiving is raiding in WoW. So enjoy not having turkey. That's it for the patch 10.2 news.
It's time for the weekly rant.
I wanted to talk about this. I was thinking about this the other day, and I actually had a conversation with someone yesterday about this. And so there's something that I find very interesting in World of Warcraft, which is, for lack of a better term, we'll call it power imbalance. So you have a lot of characters who are extraordinarily powerful. Take Malfurion Stormage, for example. Malfurion is a supremely powerful character. He can do so much. And so Blizzard has been forced to reduce him to essentially a bystander to the events that are going on. He has to go stop world-ending events, or he gets shuffled off to the Emerald Dream, or now he's shuffled off to Ardenweld. We got to find something to do with him, because I'd be willing to bet that if it was Malfurion versus the Incarnates, he might be able to take a few of them out. So just by himself, I'm just saying. But the power imbalance in WoW is very strange. And I had this thought while I was playing my Evoker. Because the Evokers are kind of, I find, and this is just me, I do enjoy playing them, but I do find they're a little awkward in their movements. They're a little goofy. And I know it's weird to say about a video game that looks cartoony, but Blizzard made them a little cartoony. They definitely didn't make them serious. I mean, if you watch the cinematics with Emberthal and Sarkareth and all of this, there's a lot more seriousness there. But the Drakthir themselves and the Evokers, they're kind of goofy. Let's be honest. They're kind of clowny. There's nothing intimidating about them. There's nothing, oh, Neltharion made this army and it's a bunch of goofs. I don't know. But here's the thought that I had, which is, if you had an army of super magical powered creatures, right? Because most of the armies in Azeroth are just soldiers. Yes, you have mages, and yes, you have shaman, and yes, you have all of these different, and we saw some of that in the Battle for Azeroth. But your everyday line soldier is just a person with a sword or an axe, and they're chonking away at somebody else with a sword or axe. Those are the bulk of the militaries in Azeroth. So what Neltharion did in creating an entire army of super magic powered creatures, it's actually kind of impressive. Because as goofy as the Drakthir may be to us now, when he created that army and said, hey, here's these dragon powered creatures that basically can, I mean, if that army exists as an army, they'll take over Azeroth easily. I mean, save intervention by someone like Malfurion or maybe like a Jaina, or a Khadgar. Sure. But even those, they're mortals. They're just frail beings. Malfurion got hit in the back with an axe because they needed to take him out in Battle for Azeroth. And it did. It took him out. He got hit in the back with an axe. It's not like, oh, I'm so powerful I can take an axe hit. No, he couldn't. He's just a dude. So, yeah, I find it really interesting to see the power scaling, because we've seen it time and again. You have to sideline Malfurion. You have to sideline Jaina. You have to sideline Khadgar. Where the heck is Khadgar? He's hiding with Kalikos in the Azure Span somewhere, doing nothing. Come on, Kalikos. Come on, Khadgar, get with it. Kalikos is... Oh, don't even get me started on him. But yeah, it's very interesting. And I feel like in a lot of ways, the writers have kind of written themselves into a hole. And I saw this, I see this through the same lens that I used to watch the old Superman movies from the 70s. If you remember the Christopher Reeve, may he rest in peace. The Christopher Reeve Superman movies were kind of corny and kind of weird. But they started adding powers to Superman that were not part of the original comics, like the magical kiss that he gives Lois Lane that makes her forget that he's Superman. That was not in his power scope at all. Magical powered kiss. That was not something he got from being the last son of Krypton. He at one point he takes the S off of his chest and he throws a giant cellophane S that traps Zod and the others in Superman 2, and it's like, what the heck is that? They just made that up on the fly because they needed him to be able to do something, and that's, you're talking about a fictional character, and writers can create any powers that they want. I mean, the original Superman didn't fly, he jumped, so he jumped really high, but he still just jumped. So I get it, you have to expand the power slowly over time. But getting back to World of Warcraft, somebody like Jaina, who you go, okay, so she can block a missile with a shield. Okay, that's cool. She's got this arcane powered shield that she could. Oh, now she's got an arcane powered battleship that she's flying in and blasting with. Okay, that's a little much, because as cool as that cinematic was, and I cheer every time I see it, it's ridiculous, because if she could do that, why have you been sitting on this thing all this time? Come on, let's go. Jaina, bring the magic ship. Let's go. I mean, come on, what are we doing? Maybe it uses all her mana to cast it. I don't know. But regardless, the power creep of WoW has definitely taken an interesting turn over the years. And I think Blizzard has struggled to really try to rein it in, because, yeah, now we have this superpowered army of magic dragon people. And, yeah, it's a good thing that the Drakthir are on our side, because if not, then yeah, they would definitely take over Azeroth. So yeah, there's definitely some room for growth there. You could reduce the power of people, or otherwise you're going to be forced to continue writing out characters like Malfurion, Jaina, and Khadgar, who are so powerful that they can change the tide of any battle. They can save the day on any story. It doesn't matter what's going on. They're going to be able, and even Thrall in some aspects, especially when he was the Earth Warder. I mean, he was pretty powerful too. So, I don't want to write out the Horde side, but there's definitely some heavy hitters on the Alliance side that let's be honest here. The Horde side has more literal heavy hitters, like the Garrosh Hellscreams, as it were. But yeah, the magic users on the Alliance side. I mean, even Anduin, he did a freaking Maz Res on the entire Alliance army at Lordaeron. Come on. That's pretty... Yeah, that's pretty rough. So, anyway, the point is, I feel like Blizzard's gonna... I would like them to be able to do something so that they don't have to sideline these characters. Give them something to do that's interesting. Bring their powers into check a little bit. Make them powerful, but not so powerful that you have to go hide them for 3 expansions, because that's boring. I like these characters. I especially like Jaina. I wish we had more Jaina, but she's just so powerful. You can't have her out there. You can't. It's not fair. It's really not fair. And Khadgar works really good as a kind of like the surrogate father for the player character. He served that role really well in Warlords of Draenor and in Legion. But yeah, now they've had to sideline him because he can't. I mean, he just the jailer, huh? Let me just blast this guy in the face. Yeah. So anyway, it's just a little rant. It's definitely something that I would like to see Blizzard address in the future, and stop having to sideline some of these really interesting characters. So. But I guess that remains to be seen. What does the future hold? What is 11.0 going to be? What will the world look like? What will Azeroth look like in whatever the new patch is? There's a lot of rumors going around, a lot of things swirling around that we're not really sure, but definitely interesting to see what Blizzard comes up with and how they figure out how to, air quotes, solve these characters that they are continually having to sideline. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about some 11.0 spoilers and some, or speculation, I should say, because really there's no spoilers yet, because we don't actually know anything. It's all data mined and speculation from what we've seen in the game. But I've got some guests lined up for next week's show, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, that's our show for today. Thank you so very much for listening. I really appreciate it. As I've said before, I'm really putting a lot of time and effort into this, and I am sorry for releasing the episode so late in the week. I know Friday is not really the ideal day to release a World of Warcraft podcast, middle of the week, as it were, for the WoW week. But yeah, this COVID sucks, and it's definitely real out there, folks. So yeah, if you're feeling a little sick, put on a mask, please. I would appreciate it. That being said, thank you as always, and hope that you're enjoying the show. If you have any questions or comments or anything that you want to say, if you want to just complain and say, hey, your show sucks, you should stop, please email me at denethar1@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to have some discourse, have some debate about some of the different things that I've talked about on the show, and hear maybe what you want to talk about on the show. Maybe you've got a question that you want me to answer. Maybe you've got something you want me to rant about. I'd love to hear from you. So definitely drop me a line if you're looking for me. You can occasionally check me streaming on Twitch. That's Denethar01. Or you can check out my YouTube channel, which is also at Denethar01. There's no content on there currently because it's just podcast videos. But like I said before, I'm definitely looking at some video content. It takes a lot of time. And there's a steep learning curve that I wasn't ready for with video editing. So I'm working on some stuff, but it'll be down the pipe. So anyway, thank you as always. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in Azeroth.